Dr. Lee Simmons came to Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo in 1966, and he brought an extraordinary intellect and extraordinary energy to the zoo, and created from scratch all of the iconic exhibits we have today.
He's a scientist, but he also has the mind of a child. He reminds me a lot of Walt Disney. Walt Disney created this wonderful place down in California. Well, Dr. Simmons is kind of the Omaha Walt Disney, in that he created a magnificent place in the hills of South Omaha. The difference is, when you go to the Henry Doorly Zoo, you come away with more than you walked in the door with. You've learned something.
I've often thought of Lee in the context of his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, which behind his name is DVM. And I always thought of those three letters as meaning a dreamer, visionary, and maker. And that really sums up Lee Simmons.
Lee Simmons has done a phenomenal job, not only for Omaha and Nebraska, but really for the citizens of the country. If you look in Nebraska, it's the #1 attraction. I just read the Smithsonian magazine, and the attraction for Nebraska, #1 in that magazine, is the zoo.
Through all of Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and Explorers, I think that they can all learn from Lee, being raised in very humble beginning, went to college, worked his way through college, served in the military, and then took his profession to heart and went to veterinarian school. And I think that Scouts can learn that hard work and devotion to their goals and objectives are exemplified by this award that Lee's receiving today. And I think that in and of itself is a tremendous goal for all the Scouts to try and strive for.
I think the Boy Scouts need to see how success occurs. He's very successful because he has a vision, he's creative, he gets in there and does things, he gets dirty and is willing to go beyond. He spends hours beyond the normal time period of his workday to get things accomplished, and he's fun to be with.
Just about everybody in the state of Nebraska, not to mention the city of Omaha, is friends with Lee Simmons. Whether you've actually done a project with him or you just saw him walking around in his brown pants and brown shirt, you think he's a UPS driver or something like that, but he's just an everyday guy who's walking around the zoo making sure that there's smiles on everybody's faces.
He's very low-key, very subtle, he doesn't promote himself, very consistent, very persistent. He always wears brown no matter what. Even in a formal setting, he'll wear a brown tuxedo. I've never seen a brown tuxedo other than on him. And we had a fun time with him because actually we were sort of friendly competitors as to who would raise a particular gift from a particular donor. And many times he would win. But I'd always say to him, you know, if that individual gets sick, are they going to go to the zoo for care?
With the Gorilla Valley, I told him that it was to honor my dad, and I was asked him if that would be okay, and he said yes. And I go, well then, can you do it fast enough so my mom can see it while she's still alive? He said, we can do that. And basically, he was able to build that entire Gorilla Valley in 18 months.
My daughter visited Omaha, and I took her to the zoo. This was on a Sunday. And I called Lee, and I told him I'd bring my daughter to the zoo, and we go into the nursery. So he said, sure. So he met us at the zoo on Sunday morning. We went into the nursery, and we met with the baby monkeys and orangutans, took all kinds of pictures. It was a wonderful experience for my daughter. And he did it on Sunday morning, came in and did whatever he needed to do to help us with that visit.
His diligence that he's brought to the position as director of Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo exemplifies what the Boy Scouts are all about and what the Citizen of the Year Award means. And I think that this is a tremendous honor for Dr. Simmons And I extend my congratulations to Lee, both as a friend and as the director of Omaha's Henry Doorly Zoo.